serendipity of events, doing a course, having great success, meeting Mark, being able to have extraordinary success, started selling at the end of 2017. Obviously with SKUdrop, it's been a massive undertaking to disrupt the industry, the shipping industry, which we believe we have done. The solution that we're providing, sellers with SKUdrop is helping a lot of people. So that kind of feels right in my heart to go that way.
Welcome to the AMZ Unlocked podcast. I am Kimberly Locke, and today I am joined by my good friend, Jamie Paros. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Hey, Kimberly. I have to say, I love the name of the podcast and the nuance there. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't take full credit, but yes, thank you.
Really? I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort on a few fellow Amazon sellers. So
nice.
As you know, we like to mastermind. So
yeah. No, I like it. I just wanted to point that out, but congratulations anyway.
Oh, thank you. And I think congratulations are in order for you too.
Thank you.
I know I want to talk a little bit about your background, but big congratulations on your milestone with SKUdrop that it just announced. So well done.
Thank you. Yes. Yesterday we ticked over to 100 brands now using the business, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But yeah, it was a huge milestone for us and the team after 2 years of slaving away through, remotely through a pandemic, building this thing across the globe. It was pretty full on. So it was a proud moment. You have to celebrate these moments as entrepreneurs too. You know what I mean? You have to take the time to celebrate. Otherwise, you're just locked in and you never get to see the rewards or enjoy the rewards.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So I know you have got an amazing backstory and how you got into Amazon, and I love your story. So if you wouldn't mind sharing that, I'm sure the audience would love to hear how you got into this crazy business of Amazon selling. Yeah,
look, I think like all of us, trying to make ends meet is getting, harder and harder. And some of us have got that DNA in us, I guess, that entrepreneurial spirit where we want to do things, and do more things with our lives and challenge ourselves. And I've always been in business, not e-com, but just had our own logistics business. I've been a truck driver. We've had warehouses. We've had concrete trucks. We've had chemical semi-trailers. We've had all sorts of stuff through my life. I've always just been, that 6 to 7 day a week worker, 14 hours a day. Beck, my wife, was able to stay at home with our 4 children. When our twins were born, we had 4 kids under 4 when our twins were born. So that was absolutely insane. And I missed a lot of time at home with them because of, Beck being at home and me being on the road and running the family business. I didn't see the family a lot, just late nights, get up. I would start work at 3 a.m., be on the road by 3:30 a.m. and not get home till, 6, 7 o'clock at night every night. Saturday's nearly the same, and Sunday came and went, and then you felt like you were back into the grind again. So I, stumbled across Amazon, did a course like we all do, and kind of the rest is history. But even if for me, Beck was like, "Oh, it'd be good if you were home a bit more and you could see the kids," and I had that mindset as well. But for me, it was more about, "Hey, do you think I can make enough money to put someone in our trucks?" So I didn't have to be there. Like I was starting to think more like the entrepreneur, the business owner. You get out of the business, let someone else do that sort of stuff and see if you can run that kind of thing from home. And we just had some, great success, and we had a business partner on board, which we still do. And funnily enough, that he is one of our partners in the SKUdrop business as well, Mark, which a lot of people will know Mark. So yeah, it was a serendipity of events, doing a course, having great success, meeting Mark, being able to have extraordinary success, started selling at the end of 2017, it's 2018, and in that sort of time frame. And I guess the rest is history. There's a few more things that happened in between, but being able to get out of the truck and sell all our business, which was 2019, I believe, or 2020. We finally sold all our trucks. We've got nothing now. I've always had 3 or 4 trucks and some employees and stuff like that. And to be totally out of it for now, it's almost coming up 3 full years of not being in the 9 to 5, which has been fantastic for me.
Oh, that is an epic accomplishment. So well done.
Yeah, it's been really cool. So thank you. Yeah, it's been awesome.
So are you still active with your Amazon business, or has everything else kind of taken over?
We are. I think, I'll touch on it, some of the difficult moments that we've had in Amazon, people don't talk about, they always show the screenshot, the good stories, but, not many people talk about the bad stories. And I've talked about the bad stories that happened in our brand and, in our business, over time. It was late 2019 or maybe even 2020 where I was really, really close with our manufacturer. In 2019, I was in China 6 times. I went to China 6 times, visited various manufacturers and suppliers and stuff like that. And I got really, really close. Well, we all did, but I was extremely close with these suppliers, visited them, all that kind of stuff. And they launched not 1, 3 brands of products, not directly competing with our element of difference in our products, but very much in our vertical. And it really put a shockwave in our niche. They really came out hard. They were the manufacturer. They were getting them made and obviously, could sell them for a lot less. And our business took a huge hit. We had probably 13 ASINs doing big money every month and then took a big hit in, like I said, 2020. And we had to reassess a lot of our ASINs. We've still got 4 which do really well, our hero ASINs, but a lot of them, they wiped us out. They wiped everyone out nearly on Amazon in the niche. And it just, when the shipping started and, the prices started going up, these are all oversized products, pretty big products. So shipping oversized at the best of times is cash flow intensive just because of volume, because numbers equal volume in oversized stuff. So it was really hard on cash flow. Then the price, because of what they did, and then add to that 2021-22 shipping prices, we almost got decimated other than those hero ASINs, which kept us afloat, which are still selling, and they're still selling well. So we're at a point now where we have to make a call on, I wouldn't say a rebuild because we're still going okay. We have to make a call on what other products we're going to add to the brand and attack it from that angle and what we're going to do. Obviously with SKUdrop, it's been a massive undertaking to disrupt the industry, the shipping industry, which we believe we have done, which we can talk about as well. But we just have to make a call now with our energy, our capital, and where we need to put that. We feel really good because the solution that we're providing, sellers with SKUdrop is helping a lot of people. So that kind of feels right in my heart to go that way. We're still sellers, we still sell. But where we take, I speak to a lot of sellers, I'm digressing here, but I speak to a lot of sellers who are really focused on their business. That's all they do. Day in, day out, they just focus on their brand and they've got no other distractions. And they're absolutely killing it. You know what I mean? That's their full-time gig. Every part of their being and their energy is in that business every day towards scaling it and reaching whatever financial goals they see from that, whether it be an exit or, living off the brand. So we just got put into this path with SKUdrop. I didn't think, a year and a half or 2 years ago that this would ever happen. Like, you just don't plan on doing something like this, but series of events, people that you meet, putting yourself out there, being in, the position to be able to talk to different various people and connect with people, present opportunity. And as you know, Michael and myself, business partners with the EndGame Network, which we'll talk about as well. We are always problem solving. That's just the nature of being an entrepreneur. We're always problem solving, sometimes too much. How many things can you do? So the end of last year and this year, I really made a conscious decision that I had spread myself too thin as a dad, as a business entrepreneur, trying to achieve the things that I really set out to do for myself. And, you hear about passive income coming in from, multiple streams of income. But I think over time I've learned that, multiple streams, and this is just my opinion, of course, this is open for interpretation, but for me, multiple streams of income can come when you've reached the pinnacle and you're able to do that. But I think to get to a certain point where you're able to spread your wings, I think doubling down and focusing on one thing, all that energy into that one thing will give you a good outcome for then you to, broaden your wings. That's just my theory, how I saw my last 3 years. Like the Amazon business, I had like Ship Savvy, and I had, other things that we were doing, and we had private coaching, and we had EndGame Network, and we wanted to do events, and we got presented, the relationship with the SKUdrop partners. And like, there was a point where I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue doing what I was doing because I was just burnt out, just absolutely mentally drained. And so we've had to make a decision. What fulfills us? What fulfills me is being able to help others. So I'm just trying to plug those gaps with different bits I put my hand on, but focusing on, a very small, select thing, a bunch of things that I want to do this year.
Yeah, I get that completely.
I hope that makes sense. I
It
rambled
does.
a bit.
It makes complete sense. And, I spent from July of 21 to September of 22, working in the Amazon space, and dropped the ball on my own business a bit, and it slid. And that kind of is what led me to this YouTube channel, to document the rebuilding of what I'm doing. And so I completely get that. I'm doubling down on the Amazon business. And while it may look that I'm doing two things, they really are one thing. And I love to teach. And so I thought, I've got lessons that I can share, and things that I can help people, because I love to help people as well. So I thought, the YouTube channel, that just made the most sense. So I completely get it. You have to, multiple streams of income, but you do have to focus. And that's something that I talk about actually in one of my videos about, really being focused and being able to be productive. So that's a big area that I think is really important. If you're not focused, you can't be productive.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And, this year, we met each other for the first time at Southern Cellarfest, our event, which last year, to be honest, while we were building SKUdrop and organizing that as our first conference, took a massive toll on me personally. I was just almost tapped out with how busy we were. We just didn't have a team, at the time. It was all startup and from ground up, and this was our first event, and you can't hire someone full-time to run your event for you when you're just trying to see if you're going to sell a ticket. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going to happen. So you have to do things on your own. And last year was a really tough year. And I never complain. I've never been a victim. I've never had victim mentality ever. That I'm just very aware of my self-talk and stuff like that. So very astute to how I treat myself as far as the language I use for myself. But I also know when I'm just like, hey, you're almost KO'd. There was probably, I'll share with you, 3 or 4 times last year that I was just in bed for 2 days, like just couldn't move. And that's unlike me. And that's just my body saying, hey, too much, you've just done too much and you got too much on your plate. So I don't want that to happen again, because it's not about that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way. I've got an,
my husband's constantly telling me, you need to get away from the computer and do some you time, especially he's FIFO. So especially when he's away. And I'm like, you don't understand. For me, this is fun. So, as long as I'm having fun, then I know I'm not getting burned out. And I've been burned out. I'm a nurse, so I've been there.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. Like, it is fun for me too, but the kids still need their dad. They still need their dad to do things with them and take them to things and be there for my wife and stuff like that. So there's that balancing act that, we always learn and we progress, but as long as you're aware of it, like I said before we went on air, I love doing podcasts. I love doing these things where we can talk and share ideas with others. I enjoy it. It's a certain breed of entrepreneur, I guess, that has that DNA in them that says, I really want to help. I've got friends who are in business that go, I don't know how you do what you do. I couldn't do it. I couldn't put up with people and I couldn't do this. And we're all different. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We're all different.
Takes all kinds.
Takes all kinds. And they don't know how I can sit there, helping someone on Messenger to better their business or help themselves. And yeah, I don't know how they cannot. So it's just all good.
Is that kind of what led you to create the EndGame Network to help,
to
reach out and help people?
Yeah, at the start of the pandemic, it was early 2020, I think. I put a post out on my Facebook group. This was pre-EndGame, pre-Michael, everything. And I just said, hey, listen, we're all locked down. I'm going to do a little Zoom. And if anyone wants to jump on, we'll just have a chat to sort of, we're all locked up. Let's have a chat and get through some stuff together. I think on the first call, there were 7 people. It was me and 7 people on the Zoom. Then the next week, I think there was like 11. Then the next week, there was 20. And then the next week, there was like 80. And then there was like 120. And then there was like 300-400 people.
Wow.
It was spreading. And every time I did one of those calls, I would actually physically in Messenger copy paste and send the Zoom link, right? Because I didn't know that many people were going to turn up. So I was just like, here, join us. And I said to Michael, listen, there's like 300 people going to be on this Zoom tonight. I'm going to look like an idiot. Do you want to just jump on and help me, like just bounce off each other and just like, so I don't look like an idiot and we can just do some stuff together. Anyway, that was the birth of the EndGame Network. We created the group so we could at least put the Zoom links in there so we didn't have to send it out. That was the reason why we created the group, actually, Zoom links. Yeah, and it sort of just grew from there. I had a pretty good connection base with all the different sellers and all the influencers around the world at the time too. So we invited all these guests, they were friends of mine, Liren, Brandon, Tim Jordan, Megla, Steven Selikoff, all the names we know, Danny, everybody that was in the industry. I would reach out to them and say, hey, doing this show in Australia, it's going to be a couple hundred people on a Zoom. Do you want to come and give some value? And everyone said, yeah, cool. We're in COVID. It was the perfect time to reach out to everybody because no one was going anywhere. No one could say, oh, I'm in Vegas that week, then I'm back here and there, then I'm in Texas, and then I'm in Austin, and then no one could give me any excuse. Everyone was free. So it made it really easy to say, hey, next Tuesday, do you want to jump on this call and just, provide some value? So that's what we did. Kind of the rest is history. The group fundamentally was created. Fundamentally, the group was created to be an open source group. That's what the reason was behind it, that anyone could share anything. I think it was in the first 2 weeks we had, John from ZonGuru, who's a great friend, and we also had Bradley Sutton from Helium 10. The following week, it was just like, we're all about the sellers. I don't care what vertical. We're not going to affiliate with anyone. We never have. We've never had anyone who's paid us for, coming on to promote their services, anything like that. The first time we've actually received any money was sponsorship for our event for an expo, and putting their booths up. In 3 years, that's it, and people know that. And especially in this country, in Australia, where predominantly all our followers are, in New Zealand, they can smell BS. Everyone can smell BS a mile away. And we've never pushed products on people or services. Anyone can come in and create a post about that PPC agency or that PPC agency or that listing company or that listing company or whatever services are out there. The whole group has been created for open source that anyone can comment. What I will say, is we never let anyone, excuse my French, shit can anyone else without having some real good backing on that, because behind that business is a really hard-working entrepreneur. And sometimes, yeah. and we're in the service industry, so we know we deal with people. We deal with hundreds of sellers all the time. So we know that your experience may be bad, but theirs may be great. Share it in a different way, but we're not going to bury people. Open source doesn't mean come in and just go boom, 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 boom. It's not how it works. So it's kind of like a full-time nuance, our group, on how we just make sure everyone's cool, but it works and people enjoy it and get value out of it. And we've built trust, whether you get not everyone gets along with people, but whether you like us or you don't like us, we get a lot of messages that people are enjoying the content, which is great. But we always said from the start, me and Michael, we made a deal before we started at EndGame Network and said, listen, if we keep just going to provide value, then the rest will take care of itself. As soon as we stop that deal with us, with the universe, we said, we're going to create a deal with the universe. We'll help people and you just put food on our table. And we won't stop doing that. And we'll hold our end of the bargain if you hold your end of the bargain. And that's what happened. And so we've never wavered from that. And as soon as we waver from that, you can feel it. Doesn't feel good. Yeah. So, there's times where I'm like, hey, I've got to go back into the community and do this, this, and this, because I just need to provide some more value here. Or what can we do? Or, what can we do at SSF? Or who can we bring out? And just what can we do in the community to provide more value? Because I'm not feeling, it's not got nothing to do with the community. It's me. I feel like we need to ramp it up this week. Oh, why? What's happening? We haven't been in there for a bit. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do a 1-minute workshop. Let's get some people on. Let's get some community members on. We need to keep our end of the bargain.
That's awesome.
And that's how we operate.
Well, and that flows through to the Southern Seller Fest. I mean, there's so many things, and I've told people, I said, my inbox is so full with so much stuff that is just selling. It's just people trying to sell me something. And I said, being in Australia for 13 years, I was like, I've developed that scent. You can smell it. And you just know. And at the Southern Seller Fest, it was just 2 days of absolute jam-packed nonstop value. And I didn't feel like anybody that got up and presented was trying to sell me anything. I mean, they may have a service, and if we wanted it, that's great, but they were really there, and they were really not organic, authentic. They were really authentic and wanting to provide that value. And there was a brilliant collection of people, and I can't wait till the next one.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We've locked in all the speakers for the next one. It's really, really exciting. So that's cool. And to be honest, we reached out to people and said, listen, we understand you got a service, you got to put food on your table as well. Happy for to show a last slide, and everyone does that, show the last slide and you do your thing and let people know. But the thing is, we actually felt like the service that people were on stage promoting would help people. And, when Matt Parker spoke about, Pinterest, or, there's people that are looking to source from India, from Megla. And, there's people caught in this, whirlwind that's, Stephen Black's forte. So, they've all got their services and stuff, but they came knowing, and we stipulated it, it's got to be about the person you're looking at. It has to be about them. Yeah.
That really came through.
Yeah. So we're pretty proud of that. And for a first event, it was pretty cool. It was epic.
Well, I have to say the most epic moment was when you announced SKUdrop. The people I was with, the other 3 people I was with, we sat there and just looked at each other with our jaws hanging open going, this changes everything. Yeah. I mean, and you were followed by, Arnold from Dolman Bateman, and he got up there and he was going to talk about cash flow, and he's like, well, you just changed my whole presentation, because you just changed the whole inventory management, cash flow management, completely rocked the world. So please tell us about SKUdrop, because this is like epic.
Yeah, I guess, when it was getting tough in 2019-20, I was reaching out to a lot of our contacts when shipping prices were going crazy. And I was saying, what is your method? What are you guys paying for containers? Any savings that I could make? Cash flow is intensive. Like I said, oversized products. And I was just like, give me some ideas. And, one of our business partners, Jen, who is a Chinese American, and his business partner is in China. They've got a pretty significant, when I say significant, they've got 2,000 SKUs on Amazon. So it's significant. They've got a very sophisticated Amazon business. And I reached out, and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never sent a container before in my life. And I said, but you've got 2,000 SKUs. That just doesn't even compute to me. How are you optimizing? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. He said, we would never jeopardize that, our risk, our business continuity. And we look at our weekly sales and we know our velocities and we keep stock flowing every week from China, our own warehouse. They're not manufacturers. They're just Amazon sellers. There's millions of Amazon sellers in China, not manufacturers, just great sellers, right? And they don't use the US 3PL, SPD, LTL model. It's not even in their logic. I did a podcast, actually, I digress, last week with a guy, and he was an Italian, and he lived in China for 6 years. He'd never heard of us so-called Westerners doing this double, triple handling thing. They'd always kept their goods either in their manufacturer's warehouse or in China and drip fed. So this, like, the penny just dropped for us. We're like, so we've created our order. We don't have to pay 8,000-9,000 for the container, 6,000 for tariffs, and we just break that up. Yeah, that's what you do. Well, so initially the SKUdrop concept was going to be built just for us. It was going to be Zhen expanding his warehouse potentially, and me, Michael, and a few other close sellers we're going to have our own Chinese, secret warehouse, and we're going to have this new method of, getting back in the game with our own margins. And one thing led to another. You can obviously, see how big it's actually grown now and what it is. But that concept grew and grew and grew. And we thought, you know what? People actually need to hear this, because the mums and dads we talk to in our coaching programs and access mastermind programs, they're on their knees. They're almost, a lot of people have left the game. A lot of people, the last 2 years, online sales went up, but a lot of people's margins got hit. And people just said, this is too hard, basket, I'm out. So we said, out of a necessity, we need to actually let people know about this. We can't just tell people willy-nilly and see how they can do it, but trying to find a 3PL or a warehouse or a consolidation facility in China is very difficult. It's really hard to communicate. The trust, hearing about it, people, what are people doing, and can you recommend? No one has any recommendations. And then, the whole FBA prep stuff for you, and how do you know what, inventory you've got in their warehouse, and how does that talk to you, and how do you talk to them, and how do you create shipping plans? So we created SKUdrop for everybody. And it's a genuine game changer. I seriously believe it. This one, I really, really feel it is making a massive impact. And yesterday, hitting 100 brands that are using the business, and we're only been live for 18 weeks, really hit home to me that it's the right thing, because we haven't sold it. We've launched it at Southern Seller Fest. We did another little show in the EndGame Network, but we haven't done any marketing. We haven't done anything. We've been too busy in the build and just onboarding these customers and making sure all our SOPs and processes, because we're building on the run here. We're building the UK, we're building Europe, we're building Canada, we're building Australia, to be able to service them from the warehouse. So behind the scenes, it is frantic. We haven't had time to build a marketing team and get this out to everyone. I'm just doing podcasts when I can and just talking to people like you, Kimberly, and all this sort of stuff. And 100 accounts have done their own due diligence, and that's the pleasing thing. So the sky's the limit. But in essence, 50,000 foot overview, old way versus new way. You get your products made from your manufacturer. You send them to a 3PL generally. Some people send direct to Amazon, but you want to know your sales velocities. And the more people I talk to, they don't necessarily do too much of that. There's a lot of smaller stuff, but for the bigger ticketed items, sometimes they're restricted by MOQ. So they've got to order a certain amount, and they're not going to send 3 months or 4 months worth of stock into Amazon. It just doesn't make sense paying their storage fees. So in their mind, they go, okay, I'm not going to pay Amazon storage fee. Hey, 3PLs are cheaper. So they send that across to a 3PL. It's pretty much similar. You're unloading containers. You've got transportation fees to the 3PL. Their unloading fees, decanting fees, all the stuff that comes with the container. Then their prep fees, palletizing, all that stuff. If you're doing LTL, especially for us when we're doing oversized products, you've got to pay for the wooden pallets that go in, and then the dreaded SPD, LTL inbound fees. When you do your numbers, it's costly and you think you're saving money, but it's crazy. Then we're talking to these Chinese and they're like, we don't do that. We got 3,000 units, our 4 months worth of stock, but this week I sent 200. Next week I'll send 200. Next week I'll send 200. Next week I'll send 200. And they just monitor their levels in their own family warehouse or their setup that they've got in China and create their shipping plans, bang, bang, every week. So that's what we built. We wrapped it around a beautiful software platform, which I can just do a quick demo in a sec. So you know at any point in time what you've got in the warehouse, what's being stored, and we've got some really cool now. We've got a full inbound delivery system. So when you send products to us, when you create an inbound shipment to SKUdrop from your supplier, you get a little label that says SKUdrop and your incoming order ID and your SKU, so our staff can recognize the label, accept your delivery. They check everything, they count everything, they weigh and measure, make sure that everything's spot on, and put it away. And then all of a sudden your dashboard populates with what you've got in storage. I can't explain to you the feeling the first time we sent like a container's worth of stuff to SKUdrop and we didn't have to pay for the shipping up front. Because usually after that PO is paid for, it's like, okay, now comes the big one, the shipping, the duties, and then the 3PL want their bill for receiving.
Yeah.
So it was huge for us because SKUdrop doesn't charge for any receiving. So you can send us 1 carton or 1,000 cartons. It's zero to receive, palletize, put on the pallets, scan them into their location in the aisles and put them away. You don't pay a cent. So up until now, you've done nothing. We've received it. It's cost you nothing. Only time you have to pay is when you create a shipment every week. It's game changing for cash flow. And happy to show you a really quick demo of what we've built.
It's absolutely epic. And the fact that you've taken away, please share it, because the fact that you've taken away the pain of a shipping plan. I mean, in the time that you've taken me through, the quick little demo you showed me before, that was a fraction of the time it took me, and I'm still not even finished with the shipping plan that I'm working on now. So
yeah, well, this is it basically. This is what a SKUdrop account and your dashboard looks like. It's brand name and how many units are stored in the warehouse, how many cartons are stored in the warehouse, how many cubic meters are stored in the warehouse, and there's some information panels here of cartons that are in prep, incoming to the warehouse, and outgoing to Amazon. It's really, really simple. This is a demo account, but when you sign up to SKUdrop, which we can talk about later, you connect to Seller Central because every account needs to be connected to Seller Central, your Seller Central account. It's a really simple process on the inboarding flow. It's 2 or 3 steps, very simple, and you're connected. When you connect and you start an account, all these are obviously zero because you haven't got anything in our warehouse. And all this area here is all zero. It's empty. There's no uploaded products into our system, and there's no stored products because you haven't sent us anything. You just go to add products and brands, and all your SKUs in Amazon are in here, right? Nice. They're all automatically uploaded. You give us some details around your HS codes and your carton dimensions, select it and upload it to your dashboard, and then it comes here. So we've got all your SKU ready to go. Sending to SKUdrop's really simple. You just send to SKUdrop. There's a flow for that. And you get an email saying, hey, we've got your inbound order. Here's the labels. Here's the address of the warehouse, etc. But sending to Amazon is the really cool part. So obviously I've got, for demo purposes, 2 ASINs here that are stored in SKUdrop. And to send your weekly shipment or fortnightly or however many, you want to, or however often you want to do it, send to Amazon. If I want to replenish, I don't know, maybe not 600 units this week, maybe 300 units of this pet grooming rake, 10 cartons for the week. I sell 300 units of this product, create shipping plan with Amazon. This now talks to your Seller Central account and the shipping plan is done. So here you go, the FBA ID, ship to SMF3 West, calculate shipping estimate as well. That's done in an instant. You get slow boat, medium boat, fast boat, all the options for those 300 units, $162 ranging up to $390, depending on how fast you want to ship it, We've also got UPS last mile delivery, which is sometimes a little bit more expensive for UPS, but people sometimes want to use UPS. We use truck delivery a lot. And once you select that and you accept that shipping plan, our warehouse get your FBA labels instantly, and it's picked, labeled, loaded out towards, the port that day, which is like, it's extraordinary how many emails I can just picture in my head, the old way of doing things. It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah, that took less time than it took me just to look at what's in my warehouse, and not all warehouses have, a dashboard.
Yeah.
My first warehouse, it was all on paper.
Yeah.
And anyone who thinks that an American 3PL is less expensive is kidding themselves, because mine just notified me that they're raising their rates because their rent got raised 230% starting in 2023. So it's like, oh, this is not good. So
our rates are pretty straightforward. There's zero receiving fee. It's $2.75 to pick, label, and load for each carton. And that's only on the way out. So you don't pay anything on the way in, just on the way out. And it's 49 cents a cubic meter a day, or $14.70 a cubic meter a month, which is probably 40% cheaper than Amazon, and probably a lot cheaper than a lot of the US 3PLs who are creeping up, like you said, too now. That's all our fees. The software is $9.99 a month, but there's some, I won't say it yet, but there's some codes floating around for people to have some free subscription stuff. But look, we want it to be transparent. We manage all your FBA IDs. We manage all your, FBA labels. We manage all your tariffs and duties. So the way it works is when you start an account, you upload your credit card, and you get full notification of when you've got a bill, when you've been charged. The invoice gets put into your account. You get an email of the invoice as well. We wanted to have automation because we wanted that. I didn't want to have on my emails, I've got to pay that freight forwarder, this freight forwarder, that tariff. Oh, I can't keep track of it. I know what's coming up. I know what my expenses are. I know what my tariffs are. If you can just do it for me and let me know. We also have so many SKUdrop customers in the one container. The 7501 has all those people's data on there. So we don't give you the original because we'd be showing everyone else's brands and their goods. So we create an exact extract with just yours on there. If you want the 7501 original, we have that all on file. We're just fully transparent about, we don't do DDP. We do all the, above board shipping, all the correct entries, all the correct duties and tariffs. And I guess, the proof's in the pudding with the 100 account holders. They're enjoying it. If they didn't, we'd know about it by now for sure. Our customers are our best engineers. So any suggestions we take on board, but we've done thousands of shipping plans now. Thousands of cartons have left the warehouse. Thousands of cartons have come in. We've got hundreds of thousands of units being stored. So yeah, we would definitely know if customers didn't enjoy the experience by now.
Yeah, it is absolutely game changing, and I can't wait to, when I'm placing my next order, we're going straight to SKUdrop. So
yeah,
the only reason
awesome.
I'm not there now is because I just didn't find out about it before it was already in America. So but you're right. There is a special code for our audience floating around, and that will be in the description. But you can get Jamie has been really, really generous. You can get 6 months of your platform subscription to SKUdrop, that $9.99 for free, with the code AMZ Unlocked. And for our American friends, that's AMZ Unlocked.
Yeah, you got to do those ones, don't you?
I did want to point out too. Sorry, I did want to point out too, for anyone in America watching, it's important to make note that what Amazon charges you for storage is in cubic feet, and these figures are in cubic meters. So when you do that conversion, what you're charging is ridiculously cheap. So
you got to multiply by 35. So cubic feet to cubic meters is multiplied by 35. We've done enough conversions to work that out. Yeah.
I have an app.
Yeah, I've got an app too, but I just knew that because of how much testing we've done. But yeah, so if you're getting charged like, 5 cents or 3 cents a cubic foot a day, times that by 35, because we're at 49 cents a day. So just that's how you do it. Whatever cents you're getting charged, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, times it by 35. That's what rates you're getting charged. Yeah. So look, I will say that, our shipping rates are really, really competitive. We know that because of how much testing we've seen, the real dirt cheap, dodgy Chinese freight forwarder prices. We've seen, the other end of the scale where there's some pretty expensive freight forwarding. I would say that we are below middle towards the cheaper side. And that's a really massive thing that we had to get over the line, because when we did our contracts with our logistics partners, we hadn't sent one box. This was all on a promise, like, hey, we think we're going to be busy. We think we've got a good business. We think customers are going to come in here, and we think we're going to have some good volumes. Can you give us your best price ever? And we've never sent anything with you. It's a really hard conversation to have, you know what I mean? But if you don't have a business to begin with, because people are going to compare shipping prices. And this is my point. If you want to compare shipping price, go to our website, SKUdrop.com. Up the top, it says our fees. It'll scroll you down the website to our shipping calculator. You can enter in the dimensions of your product, the weight, the FBA, a warehouse that you usually get, that from the States, and it'll give you our price to send that all up, your last shipment of 100, 200 cartons. Also, there's a toggle to flick it to weekly, and that's what it would be if it was with SKUdrop. And what you'll notice is that 200 cartons that might be, I don't know, let's call it $1,200, right? For argument's sake, 200 cartons in an LCL might be $1,200. If that's 3 months of stock, 12 shipments, it's $100 a week. We managed to get the same price for that 1,200 broken up weekly. Otherwise, how could we potentially say, hey, come and do weekly shipping, but it's $2,000 or 2.5 instead of 1,200? And we said this to our logistics partners. I know sometimes you guys have got MOQs on shipping too, because there's MOQs in shipping. There's minimums, and there are some minimums for some FBA warehouses around the country, but for the majority of the major ones that we go to, our ship from address in SKUdrop is our warehouse in the US. So where it gets landed and unpacked, that's our ship from address. And we get West Coast for anything standard size and below. So it's really, really cool for anyone that's got standard sizes below. Anyone with oversize, you'll generally get 1 or 2 warehouses where oversized products go. That's what you get in the US as well. If you've got oversized products, people will know that. So it's pretty cool. So, if you're spending $1,500 or $2,000 on an LCL, divide that by 3 months, that's what you're paying with us. It's like a no-brainer for cash flow. The cool thing is for, I know I'm talking a bit now, I get excited, but
you're passionate.
Well, the thing is, I think about people who have had product launches that have failed, and we can't always get it right. Okay. As sellers, we try to get it right, and we try to do everything we can in our power to do all our due diligence and our research to get it right. But sometimes, maybe it's okay, but maybe it's just not doing as well as it should now, and maybe it will, right? But you have to pay for all the shipping. You're paying for a 3PL. Every time you're sending product in, maybe the little bit of margin that you got left is, going in the SPD or the LTL. At least this way, you can launch a product from keeping your goods in China, send 100 units. See how it goes. And please, I wish everyone the success. If it goes well, send a fast boat. It might be $100 more or $150 more, but get one on the water for 25 days and back that up, and then start having your rhythm of, your regular service, the cheaper shipping, and get that going every week. Another thing that we, spoke to someone about is they sent their goods to the US. They sent the products into Amazon. Once they hit Amazon, there was a problem with the product. The first 300 units they sent to Amazon, a few sales went out to customers and there was a defect on the product. They did a full removal order, but now they're waiting on parts from China to come to the 3PL. The 3PL's got to open every product and replace and fix this part. If that was in China, you could have caught that. You could have sent that to the manufacturer and said, hey, fix this and send it back, at their expense. There's a lot of benefits why people are storing in China. I think it's undeniable now.
It is, cash flow is king, and this is a game changer. And, we were talking before we started the recording, I've had to deal with those removal orders, Q4, they hit a lot of people in Q4. And I think a lot of people got stuck with having to move products out. So, having this just-in-time shipping philosophy and this whole mentality, it just has changed the way I think about how I'm going to operate my business going forward. And I'm excited. I'm super excited about the future. And a big part of that has to do with what SKUdrop's going to be able to do. So I cannot wait.
No, it's awesome. Now, look, I'm really excited and I'm happy to help people. And, obviously if they want to reach out to me, they can reach out to me at jamie@SKUdrop.com or reach out through the EndGame Network or, private message me. I'm happy to help anyone. And if anyone needs a hand with SKUdrop or wants to learn more, we've got a pretty cool YouTube channel now with about 35 little snippet videos to help people. So you can go to SKUdrop on YouTube and watch, they're 2 to 3 minute, 5 minute videos on just all the different bits and pieces in the software and what to expect and all the different questions that we've been getting, the FAQs. We've made a little bit of a knowledge base there. So if anyone wants to know more, that's a really good reference point to start. The calculator for our shipping costs, people wanted to know what our shipping costs were. So we built the calculator. It's live what it would cost right now in SKUdrop. So if you were doing our rates change every week, to be honest, for the last 4 weeks, they haven't moved in shipping. It's just the way it's been. We haven't had any rate changes for the last 4 weeks, but every time there's a rate change, a cent or two, the back end of that calculator, that's live, that website calculation. So at any point in time when you're looking at it, that's what you would be getting charged today to send those 10, 12, 20 cartons, whatever it may be.
That's brilliant. And we'll put all the links in the description.
Yeah, awesome.
So it'll be there for, your contact details, EndGame Network, and of course, SKUdrop and the discount code to get that 6 months free of the platform subscription. So again, thank you for that. And it has been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. I really have enjoyed this. Thank you very much for coming to my podcast. And I am really excited about the future with SKUdrop and how you're going to be able to impact so many Amazon sellers in such a meaningful way.
I appreciate you inviting me, and it's been a real awesome time. So thanks, Kimberly, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch as we do.
Always. Absolutely. Well, thank you again.